guitar enthusiasts, welcome back to the channel. Let's get into one of the coolest, most ear-catching techniques in guitar playing, the pinch harmonic. If you've ever wanted to make your guitar scream with those wild, squealing tones you hear in rock and metal, then stick around. We'll cover everything from the basics to advanced tips to help you master this epic skill. So let's go! So what exactly is a pinch harmonic? Well, a harmonic is a high-pitched tone that occurs when you lightly touch the string at specific points over the fret marker. So instead of playing a fretted note like this, I'll lightly tap above the fret marker, the fret bar, and that gives you a natural harmonic. So the pinch harmonic takes this concept to the next level by involving your picking hand. To pull off a pinch harmonic, you're essentially striking the string with your pick, then immediately grazing it with the side of your thumb. This combination creates that sharp, cutting squeal we all love. Think of it as a magic pinch that unlocks a whole new dimension of tone. Let's break down the classic pinch harmonic technique step by step. Number 1, grip your pick. You want to hold your pick so that only a small portion is exposed. This makes it easier for your thumb to graze the string. So take a look at this angle here that I've got. I'm going to hold my index finger on this side, but most importantly is the thumb. Take a look at this thumb angle. I've got most of my thumb covering the top of the pick with the point facing down, and that way I can just swipe the string with my thumb right after picking. Number 2, pick and pinch. As you pick the string, let the side of your thumb touch it briefly right after the pick makes contact. And I'm not going to change the attack that I have on that. I'm just going to turn the pick slightly as I go down so that my thumb can hit the string. So notice how I haven't changed my right hand position really. I just want to find the hot spot, but still I'm going to generally stay in the same position that I normally would with picking. But then I'll turn my pick slightly and graze the string with my thumb. Number 3, the sweet spot search. Move your picking hand up and down near the bridge to find the sweet spot for the harmonic. Every string has its own harmonic hotspots. Now I have a couple of other tricks that I want to share with you, and one of which is this. If I play a single note at the 5th fret of the G string, but then tap with my right hand an octave above that, I'll get the same harmonic. Okay, now we can do the same thing. It's a little harder to do over the pickups and they're harder to find, but you can do the same approach. I'll pick the same note there and then tap around to find a harmonic over here. So if you're having a hard time pinching the harmonics, you can do it that way. You can just lightly tap and find where the hot zones are, and as soon as you find it, then you pick right there with your pick as you practice pinching. So now I'll try that, and I'll move my pick around in this general area here as I pinch to find the hot zones. So I found 3 pretty good ones right in that range there. Here's a close-up so you can see exactly how my pick and thumb work together. Now that you understand the basics, let's talk about some essential techniques to nail the pinch harmonic every time. Number 1, right hand position. Keep your hand stable and experiment with angles to find what works for you. I like to keep my palm in palm muted position. So if I was to play a palm muted power chord riff, I'm right in position where I want to be for most of my riffs. So then anytime I try to add a pinch harmonic, I'm already ready to go. So for example, I'm right in a palm muted position, a couple of palm muted notes, then the artificial harmonic, or the pinch harmonic. It's also known as artificial harmonic. Number 2, the picking hand roll. Remember, the pick and thumb must work together in perfect sync. That's part of the reason that I don't change the way I hold my pick. You want to kind of get that into a habit that you hold your pick naturally that way to where your thumb is lined up, so that anytime you want to use this technique, you can simply swipe it and you'll get an artificial harmonic. As you know, practice makes perfect, so let's go through a few exercises to build your pinch harmonic skills. Number 1, a single string drill. Focus on getting consistent pinch harmonics on one string at a time. I suggest you try it on the 3rd string. Those seem to be a little bit easier to get those, especially if you're not real familiar or experienced with this technique. They're going to be a little easier to find at certain spots of the G string. And as you've noticed up to this point, I like the 5th fret, and going up you can find them there as well. But one of the techniques you can do is simply go through a couple of these notes and find them. So maybe start at the 4th fret, for example. And pinch around in different spots over the pickups and find those hot zones. Then go to the next note. And maybe to the 7th fret. 9th. 10th. 12th. 14th. Notice I was using the natural notes there. I was trying to stay in the key of C, so you can go in a different key if you'd like, but that's the direction I was heading with that. Number 2, scale integration. Play through scales and try adding pinch harmonics on specific notes, which I was basically doing on one string, right? I was walking up the scale on the G string, but we could do it across strings as well. Take the Aeolian mode, for example. Let me walk you through that in case you're not familiar. So using that scale, pick some tones throughout it and use pinch harmonics and try and add that into the scale. Number 3, use gradual progression. Start slow and clean, then gradually increase your speed as you get more comfortable. As I'm sure you've noticed, even seasoned players like me run into challenges with pinch harmonics. I've missed a couple here and there trying to land them, right? So let's troubleshoot a few common issues. Number 1, inconsistent results. If your harmonics are hit or miss, double check your thumb position and your pick angle. We've already been over that, so try and stick with your thumb balanced around the top of the pick like we discussed earlier in the video. Number 2, unwanted noise or feedback. This is a big one, so you want to mute unused strings with your fretting hand to keep things clean. That's an important element. If I'm playing the 5th fret of the G string here, I want to control the B string and the E string underneath that index finger, if that's the finger I'm using. If I'm using my middle finger, I also want to use my index finger over here to control the B string and E string. So generally speaking, my index finger is going to be the one to control the noise of the strings below it. Any strings above it, I'm going to control with my palm on the bridge. Number 3 is your guitar setup. Proper pickup height and a fresh set of strings can make a big difference. So if you've got some old strings on there, get them changed out. And if you're serious about harmonics, it might be time for a setup or a tune-up with a professional luthier. But if you want to make some changes yourself, take a look at your pickup height on here and just look across the board like that and see if it's too close to the strings or too far away from the strings. If it is, just tighten or loosen the screws on either side to make an adjustment there. Once you've got a hold of these basics, it's time to get creative. Number 1, try different genres using pinch harmonics in blues, funk, or even jazz for unique tones. Number 2, combining effects. Add distortion, delay, or even a flanger for mind-blowing harmonic effects. And number 3, inspiring new ideas. Challenge yourself to come up with riffs or solos that showcase pinch harmonics in unexpected ways. With practice and experimentation, you'll be squealing through solos like a pro. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or ideas for future lessons. Keep rocking though, and check out one of these videos next.